Okay, this video is going to show you how one var stats on the graphing calculator can do a lot of wonderful things for you. First, I want to start with a simple group of data and show that it can give you the mean, the median, standard deviation, and the 5-number summary. So first you want to do is enter this data. To do that, you go to Stat, and then the very first option, Edit, will allow you to enter the data into a list. I've already entered this data into a list. And now I'm going to go ahead and go back to Stat. This time, though, I'm going to arrow to Calculate, so you see those menu options across the top. And the very first one var stats, will allow me to calculate all of this. Now, I need to tell the calculator what list I'm using. My calculator's old, so I'm going to actually tell it that I want to use list 1. So I'm going to hit second and the number 1, and that's going to pull up list 1. The newer calculators have like a menu option, and it'll have X list and then frequency list, and it usually defaults to having L1 already inputted into the X list. You can just leave it like that as long as you have put the information into L1. Otherwise, you'll need to change it to another list and hit enter, and it will give you X bar, which is the mean. So we have a mean of 8.7. Right here, S, that's a sub X, is the standard deviation. So I have a standard deviation of 4.08, and we'll round it to 3 decimals. So 4.084. To find the median, see this arrow button? That tells me I have more information. So if I arrow down, right there, MED, that's the median. And then the 5-number summary is also sitting here. If I keep arrowing down, the minimum, Q1, median, Q3, and the maximum is all sitting right there for us. So we can also list the 5-number summary. And if you write it in order, separated with commas, it will assume to be minimum first, maximum as the last one, okay? But this also works for if you want to do grouped data and you want to find the mean and standard deviation of group data. But first you'll have to find the midpoint of the intervals. So to do that, we add the two lower and upper bounds and divide by 2. So that'll be a 2. Adding and dividing by 2 will be 7, 12, 17, 22. So these midpoints, which we'll call L1, or that's what we're going to enter into L1, and the frequencies are what we're going to enter into L2. So I'm going to go back to Stat, back to Edit, and this time I'm going to clear the list. So to do that, I arrow up, so it's hovering over that, and I'm going to hit Clear, and then Enter. And now I'm going to go ahead and enter the midpoints. And then for L2, I'm going to go ahead and enter the frequencies. Okay, so now that that's entered, I'm going to go back to Stat, arrow over to Calculate, var stats, and this time I'm going to tell the calculator that I not only want to use L1, but I also want to use L2. So for my calculator, I'm going to have to use the comma button, which is above the 7. And then second, and the number 2 will pull up L2. For a newer calculator, you'll input L1 into the X list and L2 into the frequency list. And so to do that, you'll just hit second and the number 2. Okay, right there, that is the mean. So we'll just round it to 12.9. And then right here is the standard deviation, which I'll just go ahead and round to 6.02. But it also works if you want to find the mean and a standard deviation of a probability distribution. So this would be L1, and this would be L2. So I'm going to go ahead and clear these. Oops. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 0.25, 0.4, 0.3, and 0.05. I'm going to go ahead and go back to Stat, Calculate, var stats, L1, comma L2, and there is the mean for this probability, which is also, by the way, what they call the expected value.